summarize in one sentence what happened on 9/11?
The sweet innocence of the United States was taken away. My entire livelihood would end up coming to a screeching halt, as well as my husband's within a year and a half, because we work for the airline industry. So major changes all around.
I didn't know that. Who was president of the U.S. at the time?
George W. Bush.
And who was the vice president?
Dick Cheney.
Who was the Secretary of State?
Donald Rumsfeld.
And who was the Secretary of Defense?
Sorry, he was the Secretary of Defense. Secretary of State at the time. Oh my gosh.
It's okay if you don't know.
No, I do. Oh gosh, how embarrassing. Wow, 14 years. This is funny. I feel like, you know, the videos when they do, like Sean Hannity sends people out to the street.
Oh, yeah.
And I totally know this stuff, and it's like, okay, so I'm on camera, so I'm going to have a total blank out.
Just pretend you're not on camera. It's okay. It's not even there.
Yeah.
Can you name any other important members of the administration that preceded him?
We also, kind of sentimental to us at the time, Mel Martinez was on his staff, and he was from Orlando, and he came on the Peter Pan flights from Cuba.
Which important sites, cities, states were involved?
New York City, Washington, D.C. at the Pentagon, and a plane went down, I can't remember where, a third plane.
How did the attacks happen? What were the weapons that were used?
The Twin Towers in New York City, the planes flew into the Twin Towers. Another plane was flown into the Pentagon, and a third plane, which the passengers tried to stop the attack, landed in a field that I can't exactly remember where.
Approximately how many people were killed in the U.S. attacks?
I believe thousands, in the high thousands.
Who specifically did the attacking?
Well, the person behind it seemed to be Osama bin Laden and his followers.
What were the reasons given for those attacks, and why did they attack us?
You'd have to go back to the Crusades. We're talking when Jerusalem was at the crossroads of the ancient world, the Middle East and Europe. And the Crusaders wanted to conquer Jerusalem for Christianity, and the Muslims resisted. And so after several crusades, the Muslims began to lose ground. Christianity and Western civilization advanced. And ever since that time, the Muslims have wanted to reconquer, regain, and to wreak vengeance upon us.
What countries were the attackers from?
Afghanistan and Iraq.
Where and what countries did the attackers allegedly train?
They trained in Florida, United States of America.
Which countries were blamed, accused of supporting, funding, organizing, sending the attackers?
The Middle East countries.
Which countries did the U.S. attack, invade, go to war with?
The terrorist countries.
Can you name the leaders of the groups or countries that were attacked by the U.S.?
Saddam Hussein.
Can you name any countries, friends, allies of the U.S., or international organizations that supported the U.S.'s decision to go to war against those countries?
I believe the Great Britain, Canada, Italy.
How many Americans died in those wars? How many non-Americans died?
I do not have an answer for that.
Approximately how much money was spent on those wars?
Uh, an exorbitant amount of money.
Do you believe that the wars on the U.S. that the U.S. engaged were just wars?
Was the Second World War. After that, we engaged North Korea, and I'm not too sure that that was justified. We also engaged Vietnam later on, which proved to be a big failure. And then we went to Iraq. So I have yet to decide the just cause of those three most recent wars.
Because what did the wars accomplish?
That's a tough question.
Loaded question.
Yeah. I'm sure it helped to keep, mentally. People thought, okay, the U.S. is taking action.
What countries, groups, organizations, and industries, if any, benefited from the wars?
I can't name any specific, industries, but in general, there's a lot of money to be made during wars on different sides of the spectrum.
Did the U.S. citizens lose any freedoms, rights, liberties as a result of 9/11 attacks?
Yeah, looking back, I think we have lost a lot of privacy because the NSA now has the power to listen to our conversations, to track our movements, and to know exactly what we do. If they want to find out, they could find out at any time during the day.
Do you think
So-
that privacy is a right or a liberty?
We are guaranteed a certain amount of privacy by the Constitution of the U.S. The problem is that in order to counter that terrorist threat, we have given up some of that privacy. So we're trying to achieve the right balance between still maintaining some degree of privacy and yet having the government track down these terrorists who still want to kill us. But yeah, overall we have lost quite a bit of privacy. And if the government falls into the wrong hands, then it could be abused against us, used to enslave us and take away our freedoms. Again, another complicated answer.
Do you believe that the U.S. government told its citizens the truth about 9/11 and the reasons for going to war?
At the time, I believe so. It's hard to disprove because most of the knowledge, or all the knowledge that we had at the time, justified our taking action. And so I believe that at the time, that was the best and most accurate knowledge that we had.
Okay. And what about now?
In the past two administrations under Obama, we have not been told anything of any truthful value. Everything has been manipulated to slowly take away our freedoms, our constitutional rights, and to guide us into a less free nation.
Last question. Did any of these questions make you uncomfortable or angry?
Not at all.
You don't get emotional and talk. Yes.
No, I wouldn't say I get. I mean, yeah, I get emotional, but
I get you.
yeah, it's This was what, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
And I remember waking up on that day. I worked at the airport for U.S. Airways, and I was
You did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody in my family worked there.
I was a baggage handler for U.S. Airways, and I was on my off day, and I woke up. My brother came in, screaming, putting on the news and say, you know, the U.S. is being attacked. The U.S. is being attacked by terrorists, and I saw these planes flying into and like everybody else, I was just in shock. But the more the time goes on, the more people heal. The more they not forget, but it's easier to talk about certain things unless you had family members and friends that were in the actual attacks. Give her an A.